Hello, and welcome to my video on how I arrange songs for Anglo Concertina. My name is Martin Scott, better known as Anglo Kazooie here on YouTube. Please bear with me for this first video. This is a new format for me. There will be a teething period while I refine the process. So, we're going to start on a preface on the what and the why of this video. A number of folk have requested in the comment sections of my videos that I create a tutorial for how I arrange my songs. I think this is a great idea, because although it is enjoyable to arrange songs, it's often easier and more enjoyable to play someone else's arrangement. And the more people we have arranging, the more content there will be for the community as a whole. I plan to do a few videos on this subject. The first, this one, will be a basic overview of the limitations and expectations of arranging for the Anglo Concertina. It probably won't be entirely useful for everyone, as it will probably cover a lot of issues we already know about, but I hope there'll still be some nuggets of information that'll be useful going forward. The second one will be an overview of the tools and resources I use to arrange my songs. This will include the software and plugins I use, how to install and set them up, and then how to go about finding resources for the tunes you want to arrange. After that, I plan to do a few walkthrough videos where I pick a song and go through an arrangement on video, step by step, explain my process as I go, and why I'm making certain decisions. As a quick aside, I play a CG Anglo with a Wheatstone Lacanal or Lachinal layout, as shown here. A number of folk have asked me what make my concertina is. It is made by an instrument manufacturer in Wales called Marcus Music. I shall link them in the description. So, I think it's also important to start with my musical background, so you're not going into this thinking that because I'm making a video about this subject, that I must therefore be an expert in musical arrangement, or that this subject is too advanced for you. In fact, I'm probably underqualified in this area, and so apologies for anything I get wrong. I played guitar poorly as a child, and played accordion for around 2 years as a teenager. I have 0 musical achievements to my name, not even a grade 1. However, I have basic music reading capabilities. I picked up the concertina early 2021 as a way to stave off boredom during the lockdowns, so I've been playing for around roughly 4 years. Similar to others, I found little to no sheet music for concertina for the songs I wanted to play, nor were there many videos on YouTube or the like of others playing video game or pop culture tunes. I'd often find guitar, piano, accordion arrangements, but concertina arrangements were severely lacking. It is a niche instrument. So this is where I decided that if I couldn't find anyone else's arrangements, I would instead try to make my own. Not knowing much about music theory, I had to learn, and luckily YouTube is a great resource for this. Music Matters, which I will link in the description, was a channel that has been an invaluable resource to me. Learning chords, how to transpose keys, explaining the circle of fifths and the like. I would highly recommend taking the time, even just 15 minutes an evening, to watch some of these videos. Gareth, the guy who does them, is extremely good at explaining and very easy to follow. I was originally uploading to YouTube for convenience reasons. It was easier to share my arrangements with friends and concertina.net with just a video link. Then Bosun Bill seemed to do very well in terms of views, and my subscribers began going up. This is where, in the comments section, I first began realizing I wasn't the only one badly needing some video game arrangements, and I really appreciate all the positive feedback and song requests you guys gave me. It really helped to motivate me to keep going, and I began arranging regularly about a year ago, and the rest is history. So, that out the way, the first main section is about the limitations of arranging for an Anglo concertina. My other working title for this section is Why is Zelda's Lullaby so difficult? Here we have a very basic arrangement for the intro to Zelda's Lullaby, which we shall have a quick listen to. Sounds pretty simple, right? There's like 4 different notes in the melody, 5 on the harmony, nice and slow, not too much going on, should be a breeze. Well, sadly, no. The issues come from bars 2 and 4. We have a low C and then an F. The issue here is the low C is only on the push for a concertina, and the F is only on the pull. Which means, although the A of the melody can be played in either bellows direction, we are forced to change bellows directions midway through that held A. This is not great for phrasing. Bear in mind we're only at the intro of a rather basic song, which is in the key of G, a key that should be easy for the Anglo concertina. Other issues are bound to arise the further into the song we go. Does that mean that all hope is lost and this song isn't playable? Not at all, and I would like to play this intro section from two different arrangements of the song from two fantastic players here on YouTube, Concertina Joel and Rio Concertina. I hope you'll agree with me that both arrangements sound fantastic and both found ways around the issue explained before, which is the core of the point I'm trying to get across here. I want to show you that arranging is usually not as straightforward as just playing sheet music designed for other instruments, and it often takes some creativity to work around the instrument's limitations. There's no straightforward right or wrong way to do things, and it will come down to your own personal preference. Compromise is the key word here, and that's not a bad thing. As anyone who has ever programmed a Pico 8 game will tell you, being creative within the given constraints of the system is part of the fun. I briefly touched on Zelda's Lullaby being in the key of G, but why does that matter? Well, it's because of trying to add harmony. If you're just playing the song's melody and you have the required octave range, you're golden. But because of the restrictions of certain notes only being in certain directions, some full chords cannot be played. You can still get some half chords, but even then it can depend on what note is being played for the melody and what bellows direction it requires. If we look at those troublesome chords in the circle of fifths, we see where the problems lie. The further away from C and G we go, the more likely it is that we're going to find harmony difficult, due to those half chords. Now this makes it look like anything other than C, F and G, maybe a bit of B flat and D, is going to be impossible, which also isn't true. On average, it's going to be more difficult though. So, I've dashed your hopes and dreams and you think your favourite song cannot be played due to being in a dodgy key. But no, I say, don't despair. Difficult does not mean impossible. As an example, my arrangement of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate theme often dips into A flat, and is still playable on a CG Anglo Concertina. And there's also the possibility of transposing the key into something more playable, like my arrangement of Into the Unknown. Creativity and compromise are key to getting your song working. So, now I want to talk about the tablature system and why I like to use it. If you were to arrange a song for something like a piano, middle C is middle C. All piano players know which key to press when they see a middle C on their sheet music. Not really the case with an Anglo Concertina. As an example, on the left hand we have 3 different A's and G's, all the same octave, but different buttons and sometimes different bellows directions. When you see a G in the sheet music, which do you press and why? Now, if you're just playing melody, which one to press comes naturally after enough playing. You learn the muscle memory, changing buttons with bellows directions comes naturally. The real issue is when you want to add harmony. Which button you press will depend on many factors. What was the note played before this one? What was its bellows direction? How about the note coming after it and its bellows direction? Are either of these notes limited to only a certain direction? Are we running out of air and need to pull on the bellows? Or are our bellows perhaps too stretched and we need to push? There is a lot to figure out when adding harmony, and it's sadly never straightforward. I know some folk like to arrange in their head through practice, and then work off the muscle memory they've learned. I find my memory is not too great, and tablature is a way of keeping that muscle memory in written form, so I don't forget. I use Gary Coover's Tablature System, and if you haven't tried out any of his books, I would thoroughly recommend his Pirate Songs and Sailor Songs for Concertina. Just make sure you get the versions with the tablature. They're full of great tunes to play, but also it will teach you the tablature system and how to read it. So, that was a brief overview of the issues with arranging, and as I explained earlier on, the next steps from here are to start working on the next video I mentioned before, where I explain the tools I use and how to set them up. And from there start working on some demonstrations of how I arrange my songs. I know a number of you have put in requests for songs, and I'm sorry if I haven't been able to fulfill your request. I hope with these videos I can start whittling away at that big old list. So finally, I hope this has been helpful, and thank you very much for listening this far. An even bigger thank you if you have subscribed. At time of recording, we are 10 subscribers away from 1,000. It's crazy numbers, and it really does mean a lot to me that there are folk out there who enjoy my content this much, and I do really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, all the best, and take care.